sexy back.
That's a nice intro. Thank you. You're bringing sexy back.
I brought you back.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the show. This is Jared Hatcher along with Chris Davis. We're on the World Wide Web at the show on ESPN1240.com. And also, we're going to have some video of this show.
It's going on right now.
It's going on right now. I can
right
see
there.
myself, too. It's simulcast, and then you can watch this for posterity's sake.
And see, Kyle's very professional about this. We didn't understand, are we supposed to be looking at the camera or not? And he said, no.
It's kind of like Lou Holtz said about it's like Lou Holtz said about scoring touchdowns. Act like you've been there before.
Right. I'm not even paying attention
I'm not
to
even
that camera.
paying attention to the camera at all. I don't even know that it's here.
All right, so Thursday night, Virginia Tech
In Carolina.
played a game down in Blacksburg.
I got my Carolina shirt on.
I see you got your Carolina on.
All right, I didn't want to watch. I figured there's no way Tech's going to slip up. You know, they'd lost the week before. Carolina played terrible against Florida State on Thursday night, but I had to watch.
And you did.
And I did.
And were you happy?
I was ecstatic. Although I was a little worried, was that thing going to go wide left at the very end? You know, Carolina controlled the game. The whole game. The defense had been criticized by Coach Davis. You know, that's one of Carolina's strong points. They've had a lot more injuries on the offensive end than the defense. The defense was atrocious against Florida State. Carolina came out, controlled the game. When Tech finally got a lead, Yates, the turnover there, I thought, all right, that's what's plagued them at different points over the last couple of years. They came right back. I was very excited and pretty nervous. It's been a long time since I've been excited and nervous for a Carolina football game.
Especially whenever they're 0-3, and that's only going to give them one win.
Yes.
What do you mean to say about this? I mean, what can I say? Because I've said,
should we take the gloves off?
right. What? I mean,
All right,
I don't know.
here's what you're going to say. You're going to say the ACC is horrible.
ACC is horrible.
But is it compelling? Was that a good game?
Yeah, no, it is, and
Okay.
that's the thing about it is because I think there's are there teams that are better than others in the ACC?
Right.
Yes. Are there elite teams in the ACC? No. There are a bunch of good teams that battle each other and can beat each other on any given Saturday,
But are going to struggle
Thursday,
to go to a
Tuesday.
BCS game. They're going to struggle to
Yes.
go against better teams,
Yes.
better opponents. You're also going to say that Virginia Tech is the most overhyped, overrated program in the country.
No, not necessarily. I'm not going to say that. I mean, I've said that before about some certain things, but I just don't think they're as strong. Remember, at the beginning of the year, people were talking, this is national championship team.
Right.
Everybody figured they would lose to Alabama,
Right.
and then they would be able to run the table after that because the ACC was weak, and their games that they were lining up were
Right.
going to be at home. They weren't playing a lot of people on the road. Their only tough game on the road was going to be Georgia Tech.
Right.
And people thought this was going to be a team that could play in the national championship, would stand behind the unbeatens, the Floridas and the Alabamas, and wait till they knocked each other off and slip
slide
right in. And now Virginia Tech is not going to BCS Bowl.
Right.
They're not. I mean, they're not going to be in the ACC championship. They'll get a decent bowl because of the tie-ins that the ACC has. The ACC has some pretty decent tie-ins, whether it be the Peach Bowl or the CarQuest Bowl or whatever you want to say. it
Whatever
is.
bowl they've just made up since we started the show.
Exactly. So there's some tie-ins that are pretty good bowls that somebody's going to have to go to.
Right.
And Virginia Tech does travel well. They do bring a lot of fans, so a bowl will be happy to have them. But if they're going to talk about being one of the elite, no, they're not an elite team. They're not. To be an elite team, you have to beat good teams consistently and beat great teams every once in a while. And they don't
Right.
do either of that. They don't beat good teams consistently, and they don't beat elite teams. They've never beaten an elite team.
Right. They've always been right there.
I mean,
Almost.
right. And you know what?
And they are the cream of the ACC most years, year in and year out.
Most years, and that's fine. But if you're going to talk about going on and being to the next step, whether it be national championships or even being able to be in that
Right.
conversation, you have to do more than just beat the ACC teams.
Well, speaking of other big ACC matchups,
They suck.
the Virginia,
Yes.
they played this weekend?
Yes.
They did?
You know what? It wasn't even. I didn't see any highlights. All I knew was they were winning at one point, and the next thing I knew they lost.
Was it on TV?
I know.
Was it on the radio?
I mean, I'm sure it was almost
Right.
like ESPNU or
I don't
360
know. What
or
was the
those.
score? I don't even know the
It's
score.
like 17-9 or 17-12 or
It's-
21-17 or
You think
something.
the folks in Durham are ready for basketball? Duke's got a pretty good basketball team this year.
Duke is tied for first place in the Coastal Division. They're tied with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but
now
you-
they play Georgia Tech this week, so I don't think that they're going to beat them. But listen,
Georgia
they're
Tech's
only
due
one.
for a slip-up?
Duke is only one win away from being bowl eligible.
Right.
So we're talking about these bowls that ACC can be tied in with. They're right there.
But they don't play football past October 15th or so
Not usually.
in Durham, do they?
Not usually.
Not since like 1994.
No. With Langdon and Will's friend, now that Langdon and Will's friends are the coach down there, maybe he's turning around for him.
Maybe. I mean, like 1942, they played the Rose Bowl in Durham. It's the only time it's not ever been played on the West Coast. The Iron Dukes, I guess that one year nobody scored on them until the Rose Bowl. They went a whole season. So we'll see what happens. I didn't know that Langdon and Will were friends with the Duke coach.
Yeah, David Cutcliffe. He was at Tennessee when what's his face? Gosh,
right, Richard.
No, the guy that they play with.
Right.
The third
Bill.
toe roaster, whatever his name is.
Brandon.
He knows him.
Okay.
And so that's why they went last year. Remember they went to Phil Fulmer's house to play for Peyton Manning.
Okay. I didn't know that was the connection.
Yes, that's the connection. David Cutcliffe was the coach at Ole Miss.
I didn't know that's...
What's his name? What's the guy that we're talking about?
Well, you put
the
me
third
on
toe roaster.
You put me on the spot.
He played at Ole Miss.
Okay.
So that's how they know. Anyways.
Kennedy.
Yes, Brian Kennedy. There you go.
I didn't know if he was the first toe roaster.
Well, he's
I
one
would
of the
say
three.
Will's the third toe roaster.
He's one of the
Actually,
three.
Langdon. Anyway.
Speaking of Langdon, he's not here tonight.
Right.
Langdon is in Nashville. They're doing some recording. They're trying to.
I bet he won't plug us like we plug him.
They're not. He's not on the radio show.
It doesn't matter. I bet he's not plugging us
They're
right now.
doing some recording in the studio.
Florida. What's up? I mean, have they mailed this in?
I think that they're in coast mode. I mean, the rest of the season they really don't play anybody. They do play South Carolina, but South Carolina lost this week.
Yeah,
but
they
got
South Carolina
State.
might come back hungry.
Yeah, they got Florida State. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But here's the thing: they've got whatever happens with the SEC championship. Now, there's a big game this week in the SEC with LSU and Alabama. The winner
Who's going to win that?
I think Alabama will.
I do too.
I don't think LSU has a strong enough offense to be able to score some points. Not saying Alabama does, but Alabama's defense is pretty strong.
How about them Horns?
Texas does look well. I mean, they look pretty good. They're you don't
Texas
know.
hasn't
Oklahoma
had
State.
Texas hasn't had those lull games where it's been in question. Florida and Alabama kind of had games where they don't look as sharp. Texas is.
I just don't know. It's hard to tell because, I guess you could say about the SEC, oh well, they're not very good. But I think that they've proven themselves outside the conference. The Big 12, maybe they're not any good. Maybe
right.
Texas is beating up on Texas Tech and Oklahoma State and Nebraska and these teams, and they're not really that good. I don't know.
I've said this a bunch of times this year. I don't know who's good. It doesn't seem like. I mean, Florida doesn't seem like the dominating team that I thought they would be. Maybe they haven't had.
It's their offense. People
right.
wanted them to come out and score 60 points a game, and they're
right.
not doing that. Their defense has done what everybody expected to do pretty much all year.
USC, wow. The
Yes.
Ducks. You think about Oregon. I thought Oregon was pretty good. Oregon has been coming along the last 2 or 3 years, pretty good teams. Just the travesty against Boise State. I mean, not just the fight and all that, but losing. That was a huge black eye, literally and figuratively. And then they turn around and just pound USC because we've talked about USC always loses third week of the season on the road. One of those Northwest states I'm not sure about. Oregon's pretty good. Oregon's the best team in the Pac-10.
I don't know.
But how good's the Pac-10?
That's another question. How do you tell? And here's the thing is, I mean, like I said, we're going to hang our hats on this system that makes people decide that question. Makes them, without having any hard evidence of
right.
this team plays this team and here's the winner, just try to guess and say. And Deuce mentioned before we came on, why isn't Penn State getting any love? Well, the reason why Penn State's not getting any love is because they're saying that the Big Ten is not that great.
Right. And the Big Ten's got 11 teams, which is weird. That's weird to me. You can't have a champion from a conference that doesn't have the right.
All right, so the Big Ten, Iowa, are they one of the elite teams in the country?
I guess they are. I mean, they've played well. They've beaten who they're supposed to beat.
Do you know what I think is great?
What's that?
Now that USC lost, the BCS is set up so that all the unbeatens are right in a row.
Okay.
Every unbeaten is stacked 1 through 7, and starting with number 8 is the first one-loss team, which is Oregon. So at least it's set up now that the undefeated ones are in front of the ones that
right.
have.
Which it should be.
I agree to some extent. I don't know that you can put, let's say Alabama's to lose this week.
All right.
Do they drop behind TCU, BS,
yes.
To Boise State?
Yeah,
and all this?
because the way the system is, if you're undefeated, you're undefeated. But
yes.
I know in practicality that doesn't work that way.
All right,
and TCU's the Horned Frogs. That's funny.
Do you want to go take another break?
I would like to
Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little high school football, old school Monday. Listen to some music here. Do you like the fray?
Sometimes. My sweaters fray sometimes when I rip them on nails.
You listen to the show on ESPN 1240 The Boss, the 3-year anniversary.